Pat, I was telling Reavers before the show started, because I'm generally unaware of your reaction to the Kershaw situation, but I bet Reavers it would be the opposite of mine. I'm terribly disappointed, and I think it speaks poorly of the game.
First of all, pretty sunny at 12:18 when I came in, but north.
You see the clouds?
North, there was a few clouds and just a hint of darkness.
Really?
So you still got a shot. We still got a shot to face the consequences if we look at the sky at 3 o'clock and want to straighten out our ways. B, I don't say I'm in favor of it, but I knew it was going to happen. There was no drama for me as to whether
Why
he
did
was
you
going
know
to
it was
keep
going to happen?
Because last year he had arm trouble, and at the end of the season he shut down. And if he was fully healthy and had pitched a full season last year and had pitched, I think they would have let him keep going. But hell, they almost hooked him after 6. They were talking about it, and he didn't seem to have any problem. But I think he could have only maybe thrown about 12 more pitches and
Might have been all he needed.
The way these guys were going
Oh,
after
Pat,
him.
they had 1 foot in the clubhouse.
Well,
Those guys wanted.
No, I don't believe that. But that slider, he had as good a slider as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was. It looked like a UFO to those fellas. They had no idea.
And it didn't even bother him that it was cold out.
No, he just he was on top of his game, man. Well, how many strikeouts? 13.
13.
Right? And
In 7 innings.
that was his big mistake. He struck out too many. Otherwise, he could have gotten another inning. If he would have gotten through the 8th at about 86, I don't think they could have hooked him if he came that close.
But I get, Pat, if it's, if he's throwing a no-hitter and he walked a couple guys, I get it. It's a perfect game.
I know. But as I said, I can't defend it, but I knew it was going to happen.
You weren't here yesterday, but I want to clear something else up. We were wondering why the Cleveland were the team that's now the Guardians.
Guardians, yes.
Why, at one point, they were named the Naps, N-A-P-S.
Nap LaJoie,
You got it right, yep.
the former great player, and then they were the Spiders, which should be their nickname now, but they didn't.
Cannot be stumped.
The Spiders were great, but by the way,
let me finish this email.
Yeah,
it's a short
okay.
one.
Okay.
I grew up in Cleveland as the son of a huge Indians fan. Napoleon LaJoie, how do you say his name?
LaJoie, I think.
Played second base for the Indians, as well as being player-manager for the Tribe. He played for the Indians from 1902 to 1914. The Cleveland Naps were named for him. This is from Richard.
I wonder if it was an informal nickname, because I usually look at the baseball reference things that go back to the beginning, and I can't remember seeing the Naps as
Joe
their
said,
nickname.
would they like to sleep?
That's what I thought. They were sleepers.
Nelson Cruz. That was his favorite team. 75 years to go today in Brooklyn, New York.
Yep.
Jackie Robinson batting second and playing first base, not second base.
Right.
He later became second base, but at that point, second base was held down by one of the Dodgers' leading racists. Eddie Stanky was one of the guys who really would not give him the time of day when he started.
Did Stanky ever warm up to Jackie?
He became a manager and managed into the. They had him here with the Millers. He was a psycho, I guess. I'm just reading everything, but I think they all forgave him. Pee Wee Reusse was
He was horrible.
no, he was good.
I know, but I thought he became good.
I think he did. He was from Louisville.
Right.
He was from not the heart of sensitivity back then.
The only town in Florida that allowed Jackie to play with white people was Daytona Beach.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a tourist town or something, and they were
Yeah.
used to having people. But I heard a stat today on MLB Network, which didn't occur to me. He won the MVP in 1949, and starting then, over 11 years, 9 of the 11 MVPs were won by veterans of the Negro Leagues in the National League. Now, 3 by Campy and 2 by Banks.
Right.
But that's still 8 different.
Right.
That's still 8 different veterans of the Negro Leagues. Meanwhile, the late to the party American League, their first black MVP was Elston Howard with the Yankees in 1963. Also had played in the Negro Leagues, was a veteran catcher. But if you want to know why the National League kicked the living bejeebers out of the American League, starting in the late 50s through the 60s. It was
Better players.
They leaped in and got black players right away, and it was Bill Veeck did it in Cleveland, but the American League was Calvin wasn't Calvin would sneak in some Cubans, but the Red Sox didn't have a black guy until 59 or 60.
Is that right?
Pumpsy Green, who played with the Minneapolis Millers.
There's a really cool, I saw this morning, SportsCenter did a thing with Dusty Baker talking about Jackie Robinson. Pat, you should look it up. It's pretty well done.
What is baseball doing today to commemorate this?
All over the game they're doing.
Why are the Twins playing
wearing
a matinee?
because it's opening day in Fenway.
Oh, that's
Fenway now it wasn't going to be. I think they were going to be home before, but they are honoring, in addition to Jackie, Jerry Remy, their longtime TV announcer, second baseman, born in Fall River, grew up in Somerset. He's as Sox as it gets. And they're going to do the whole rigmarole for it. Rem Dog was pretty damn popular in that.
The Island plays at Montreal tonight, and I bet that'll be quite a ceremony because that's the hometown of Michael Bossy.
They got to have a parade in Uniondale for Bossy, don't they, man? Heater's got him.
I was telling Reavers before the show, if I would talk to him here or at the Island, when I was in the room with him, he had heaters going all the time.
That's right. I know it's starting to take their lives,
Right.
so I probably shouldn't do it. But I love the fact that in the most long, exhausting sport there is, hockey, these guys all couldn't wait for the between period break so they could have a couple of heaters.
I'm not sure
they
that
all smoked.
the current generation has no idea how great this guy was.
No.
They won 4 straight cups.
Yes, they did. In dominating
1980, 81, 82, and 83.
We beat them once, right? That year it was a 5-gamer, I think.
The Island has lost this year Clark Gillies and Jean Potvin.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
I didn't know they both had died. Trotier's still alive, though. Waiting to go to Brian Bellows' funeral and give the eulogy. But
Bossy scored 50 or more goals in each of his first 9 seasons.
Russo and I aren't big buddies because he left and he's hockey, and I don't see him that. But I sent him my condolences today because he.
Oh, that's right. He
grew
was
up
an
as
Islanders fan.
fan, and he responded that he said the only guy I've really ever talked to that I said I'm talking to Michael Bossy. Mike Bossy was. Michael Bossy was when I talked to him.
Wow.
He was.
He and Gretzky are the only players in hockey history to have 9 50-goal seasons.
Wow. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Even Ovechkin?
I'm telling
not
you.
50. Yeah.
Not 9 50s in a row.
Wow. Oh, in a row. Oh, I gotcha.
Although, Joe, I would recommend looking at this. I wrote a little sidebar that they put online this morning. I talked to Dino and Neil Broughton about their line mate, Tommy McCarthy, dying down in Mexico at age 61. And we have a photo of McCarthy scoring a goal sometime in the early 80s.
Right.
And I don't know who the goalie is. He's from Hartford. But he's a normal-sized goalie.
Yeah.
But there's yards to shoot through.
Yep.
With the now you got to shoot through a little hole.
Well,
right?
look at that goal Goudreau scored last night.
Yeah,
How did he get it in there?
Yeah, I know. But these guys are incredible when they score 40, 50 goals now for what they're shooting at. They don't have the, they did now half of them are rebounds, obviously, but you look at the net now, huh? Where's the room? There's no room.
There was one goal earlier this week. I don't know if it was Fiala or who it was, but he was even with the net and way far away. I replayed that thing 10 times and
Who'd he bang it in off?
who were we playing
Deflect
on?
off somebody or what?
No.
Just got it in a little corner?
Like you said, an opening the size of an envelope.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I want to finish my
How do you
ode to
do that?
Bossy.
Okay.
He had 39 hat tricks.
Really?
39. Only 2 players have more.
Wow.
He had 160 points in 129 playoff games.
Wow.
He was, that team had Bossy, Gillies, Brian Trottier, Dennis Potvin.
The goalie, feisty Billy Smith.
Yes, and they succeeded the Canadiens as the dynasty,
Yes.
and then Edmonton became Gretzky's Edmonton became the dynasty. One more thing, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991. He's been named as one of the NHL's 100 greatest
100.
players.
How about 25?
Yeah, I think so. He had his number 22 retired in March of 1992.
Did he play with anybody else?
Nope.
One franchise.
Bad back caused him to leave in 1987.
Wow.
But I swear to God, I can still see him sitting there with his uniform on smoking.
Torrey gets great credit. But the thing about Torrey is, as the GM, he got about 9 guys and kept them for 10 years.
Right,
They kept them
right.
for 10 years, and they were the nucleus of that operation. And if you were playing them in the third period, those guys never left the ice. They'd leave for 30 seconds.
Go
and
have
come
a
back
heater
out
and
there.
then-
Potvin and the heaters. Dennis Savard was my favorite smoker.
But you're right. It's the most extensive, lung-dependent sport in the history of sports.
That'd be like a guy winning a marathon in the
With a
Olympics
heater
and then
going.
said, "Hey, Selassie saying, hey, give me a heater."
Yeah, Janice never won a.
Janice Borman, the smoking marathon runner, took her 4 or 5 days to finish.
Yes.
She'd call us on Tuesday.
So I had a delightful 10-minute conversation with Dino yesterday. He's doing well in Detroit. He's got the club and he does, and he's really articulate these days and sharp. And he was very upset about McCarthy because I texted him and told him, and he hadn't heard it, but he called me back. But in 1980, the spring of December of 1980, Dino, who was 20 years old, got called up after breaking his leg in the juniors, so he was kind of delayed.
Right.
But he outscored Gretzky in the juniors. He had 72 goals and Gretzky
Really?
had 70. So, but he came in and he was greeted by Tommy McCarthy, who was also 20 years old.
Right.
And 6'3", good looking, fantastic. And then Dino moved in with Tom McCarthy.
Really?
In a year in which the North Stars became the heroes of Twin Cities sports, of Minnesota sports. And as I said earlier today, I want to interview that apartment. Yeah. That's what I want. McCarthy.
What did you
You
see?
think it was festive?
I think it was crowded. I think it was crowded. I think the neighbors.
Did you say that to Dino? I would like to interview that apartment.
It was great. I said, Dino. He said, yeah, I moved in with McCarthy. And I said, bachelors? And he said, yes, 20-year-old bachelors. He said.
So
Making a few bucks.
So basically, what Kenny said about the Thunderbird the other day would apply to this apartment.
Oh, yeah. Now, Louis makes up these stories, but Louis' very attractive daughter who ended up marrying Dino Lettieri,
Yep.
One of those two asked if they could date him, and he said, "I'm sending you to minor leagues if you."
That's right.
If I ever see you even talking to her, I'm sending you to the minor league. Louis had good reason not to trust hockey players.
That's right.
For sure, because he was
Even though he was one.
Well, that's where his experience came from.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
As a dad.
Tommy was up and down, though. I mean, remember the crowd used to get, he'd take 5, he'd go out there and he'd be invisible, but when he played, he was great.
What kind of player was he? Was he a physical? I don't remember him at all.
He played on the left side, and Dino played on the right side, and Dino gave me this quote. He said, I had Broughton in the middle. They had him for 5 years. They were like the same line for 5 years. And he said, I had Broughton in the middle, and I had Tommy McCarthy, one of the great stick handlers, one of the best backhand you ever saw, on the left side, 6'3".
Right.
He said, I never touched the puck. He said, and I never wanted to. I just wanted to go down and stand in front of the net and wait for them to make a play,
Right.
and then have it in. He said, my stick handling was mediocre at best, and he said, I shouldn't have ever had the puck with those two guys. So
Wow.
That was back when you put a line together and,
And
kept
you
them-
started reading about that line when
Yes.
they opened camp.
Yes, right. Yeah.
But yet Dino was one of our leading scorers.
Oh no, he was a great. He was. That was Kenny. He was down
He had
there in
one
the
job.
hole,
He
waiting
picked up
to-
a lot of junk goals.
a lot of You know what they called him, Kenny? This was
I don't
25
remember.
years before they called him greasy goals, but
Yeah.
he got a lot of
Yeah.
greasy.
Yeah.
No, he was great on the rebounds, and he could. They slip him a puck while he was over there in the right wing. He could fire the puck too.
Yeah.
He was a great goal scorer.
He's a great player.
And ended up in the Hall of Fame. Took a long while, but ended up in the Hall of Fame. But
So you're saying when you opened up the phone lines on North Star Confidential,
Yeah.
they would call in to complain about McCarthy once in a while?
That show didn't last too long.
Oh,
yeah, but it led to greatness.
Oh, yeah.
It led the North Star Confidential led to sports writers getting hired as hosts of.
Right.
you're
hosts of-
welcome, America.
Yes, right. It led to greatness. It was. But yeah, I don't know what the cause of his death was. He had some bad habits. He ended up in prison because he was
Drugs,
driving an entire truck of marijuana. Well, now today they give him a year's probation because I don't think he had any other expenses. But back then we were very worried about.
think-
What's
Yeah.
he doing living in Puerto Vallarta?
He had 5 years or something.
I don't know, but I hope he didn't get back into his old habits. But I think what he did was see Shawshank Redemption and say,
Well,
"The
he
hell
was.
with it. I'm not going to stay up here and freeze in London, Ontario. I'm going to Mexico."
Wasn't he mentoring and helping kids out with hockey,
Yeah.
et cetera,
I
et
thought he
cetera?
owned a minor league team.
Yeah.
He was a junior hockey coach for like 3 different teams. But then I don't know what did they find out he lived down there for 5 years?
I don't know.
And
Do we know the
in
cause
Mexico?
of death? Has that ever been?
I don't think they've told us yet. I think there was some suggestion of heart, but
With Bossy, there was no way to even pretend you didn't know.
No,
I mean, I don't think he must have not quit smoking after he played. He must have kept smoking.
well, I think if you smoke enough in your youth, if you really are dedicated,
Yeah,
you can quit for 10 years and still have the problem.
that's not true.
You don't think so?
I don't think medically it's true.
So you're saying me quitting, that's probably too late in life for me to quit?
Well, I think it's probably better
Yeah.
if you quit.
Well, wait a
but-
minute. Then Mary Helen defied all the odds, did she not?
She went out smoking and drinking.
But Reusse, are we talking about an extra 10 minutes added to my life or 10, 15 years?
I don't know. I have no idea. I
Okay.
am just happy that this bad habit that I attempted enthusiastically,
tried hard to smoke.
enthusiastically to get, and now I could have been dead at least 10, 12 years ago. I was unable to smoke.
Yep.
So that I'm very happy today.
At least
Now,
you tried.
You know what? I don't think that's the way I want to go either.
Lung cancer?
Coffee.
I don't think it's fun.
You know what I'm counting on. This is the day that I always remember.
Good Friday, man.
I know, Patrick. You got issues here as far as attendance and other things.
Who's doing the speaking
Other
here?
I'm speaking to myself.
Okay.
This is when I wake up on Good Friday morning.
Yep. All right.
I know,
Then you
Patrick.
give Patrick speech.
But do not despair, Patrick. You have the 9 First Fridays.
And you got people in
several.
heaven.
You got several times.
Yep.
And the 9 First Fridays say, and at the moment of your death, you will have 10 or 15 minutes to repent. You will not die.
That's what you get for the
instantly.
9 Fridays?
The 9 First Fridays, you will have a chance to repent before you die.
That's what I
and
want.
And if they're lying about that,
Yeah.
then none of it is,
You got Helen up there.
Yeah, I got Helen, I got Peggy,
You got Louie.
I got Louie.
Yep.
I need the 10 minutes to repent and about another 10 minutes to throw some things away that
No,
I don't want found. I've got to get rid of some stuff.
clear out his search
Throw that
history.
phone away.
God, having a big party attack.
Set it on self-destruct.
You know you got 3 minutes, and you say, "God, did I clean out my search history?"
Just give me 10 minutes, Lord.
Give me a few minutes of coherence here to. Oh my God.
Okay, your ball club's in the worst stadium in baseball, that dump in Boston.
Fenway, yeah.
Fenway's a dump.
It is. It's
Just
not,
a
it's
dump.
not as nice as Wrigley, but I love the geometry.
I do too.
I love the geometry. I don't like the geometry doesn't work for my fat ass when I'm sitting in the seats.
Have you
'cause
been to
they
New
start-
Wrigley, though? Since they redid it, you have been.
I've been to New Wrigley, and
I like the way they laid it out. I think it's cool.
it's amazing. The New Wrigley, over on the left, you have this city, and on the right, you still got the old bars and
Oh,
the
yeah.
old crap.
Oh,
I was there on the weekend that it was 100 degrees. And
That was the train weekend.
And yes, that was the train.
That was the
weekend.
train weekend. That's right. I am on a train.
What a moment. What a
Oh, the
moment.
Twins are at Boston Monday. That's Patriots.
The
Day.
I told
Patriots
you
Day
that.
at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I think maybe 10 a.m.
10:10 our time.
Yeah, that's even.
And they're running
11
the
there.
marathon.
Yes, they do. I always tell you that I had Fergie Jenkins at that one day. You might have been on that
I think
trip.
I was there.
Hour and 58 minutes.
Yeah.
Way too much drinking time.
That's when I was there with my wife. Ran the marathon in 2010, and her mother came with to watch her run. She got done. I gave her the nice big hug and said, "All right, babe, I'm going to head over to Fenway. I'll let you guys fend for yourself."
Yes. Well, it's they're honoring, as I said, they're honoring Remy today, in addition to Jackie Robinson Day. So it'll be they'll probably drape Jerry's number over.
Well, they'll
the-
probably do something for Big Poppy too this weekend, wouldn't they?
No, later on.
I discovered
Well, just
I
because
got
the Twins
the,
are in town, I thought maybe.
Remy's dead. That's why they're
I got the
I
NHL
gotcha.
channel. I didn't know I had it.
Oh, good. Way
So
to
I'm going
go.
to try to see the island of Montreal to see what they do for
There you
Bossy.
go.
Where they have their new arena open now, right? This year is the first year the island's got the got the old. I never was in Uniondale, but you covered the whole series there, right?
Yeah. And every time I talked to him, he had the heater. But he was a good guy to talk to.
Yeah, everybody said they loved him.
A hell of a guy. He won the Lady Bing
The
100
difference
times.
between the cooperative hockey players then and the cooperative hockey players now. Now there's somebody with the Wild have a couple of exceptions to this rule, but back then they said stuff.
Yeah.
They'd say everything. Now it's the
Company line.
Let me ask you something. After a baseball game, is the press now allowed to go down
Yes,
in the clubhouse?
The clubhouse is open again.
right.
Yes, although I was down there after the opener. From about 10 to 25 minutes in there, and you could have basically shot off a machine gun and not wounded anybody.
Right.
They were all hiding back there.
Yeah.
A couple, 3 guys came out, but
Not advisable at Target Field.
you
but-
know what's happened in the NBA. The players have enjoyed not having us so much that the locker rooms aren't open yet.
Really?
Yeah, you only get the guys they bring out.
Then
now.
you're not going to Memphis, so that'd be a wasted trip for you anyway if you had to go to Memphis
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, I allegedly don't travel much.
Right.
Mr. Cott has invited me to be in Cooperstown on May 10th, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make
Not
it.
when
or
you
not.
found out the hotel was $38,000.
Well, it's not so much that. It's getting to Cooperstown is
tough.
hard work.
Yeah.
Once, I already did it once this winter.
Right.
Well, if
So-
you need me to fire up the Reavers road trip mobile,
I'd rather go that way than drive and fly in and fly out.
You got it right?
Lots.
Let's take a
Got it
break.
right.
Okay.
Lots.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Kenny, what do you got there, sir?
I have an embarrassing admission, is what I have, and
He's given us those last 10 minutes. What are you going to say?
my